fantastic representation of what MENA as a region has to offer here. We're going to waste no time getting straight into the operator bans here for Bank. Ying first to be removed. Now this ban was one of a lot of discussion on the desk, and there it comes. We are going to see that Nook ban. There's no better ban, in my opinion. Lems was a nightmare yesterday on Nook, and that's going to do quite a lot to debilitate what he was able to achieve. And the Valkyrie coming out as well, so the Falcons certainly doing their homework ahead of this one.
Yep, exactly as the desk was discussing, and exactly what they expected to see here, so no surprises truly when it comes to the ban phase. Definitely going to be leaving some things open, especially on the attacking side. You have Thatcher still available alongside quite a few other things, but it is going to get in the way of the plans for BDS, so thankfully for them, at least on the attacking side, won't have to worry too much about that until we get into the second half. And I'm sure Lems may have a few other tricks up his sleeve in terms of operators you may be able to pick into and still be able to play that sneaky fast, just one of the utility to back up behind it. There's the trophy that our teams are going to be playing for in this matchup, ladies and gentlemen. We are locked in for the evening. It's 8:30 local time right now, and we've got a full best of 5 locked and loaded for these teams. So let's see who will be able to take the cake as we go live with the first round here. BDS, of course, on defense, Falcons on the attack, and it'll be a basement site hold to start things out for BDS.
Shaiko essentially swapping one information gathering operator for another there. He's going to be playing the Pulse inside of this opening round. I reckon BDS will know that they were expecting some very targeted bans ahead of today, especially with how they've been performing with a couple of those operators that we have seen removed. So I'm sure they've got some tricks up their sleeve for how they want to try and deal with that. And at least for the meantime, they are extending themselves quite heavily into open area upstairs. Ranchiro going to be placing down a couple of castle barricades, getting a couple lines of sight open in there as well, but they have reinforced both of those hatches. So it's going to be a very soft hold indeed, really forcing Falcons into that roam clear. Lems, someone that we watched for so much time yesterday, doing quite a lot of damage there, is initially going to come under a little bit of fire there. Mad Skills straight into that main door, already looking to hit some pre-fires.
Watch Lems get himself picked off at the beginning of this round here, as thankfully he's able to get himself into the depths of tellers just as that pre-fire had started to come in against him from the initial clear from the Falcons. But rebuffer things specifically here towards open area, looking to fend this off and waste a large portion of the time bank. If they can get this down to about a minute or so with him still having some presence on the inside, I'll more than likely be happy with that and be more willing to fall back to the depths of the basement. Away from this, though, no sign of any immediate action. Still waiting for Lems to get his first opportunity, and the Falcons not choosing to challenge it, at least this early on in the round. You can see Mad Skills trying to go for a little bit of pre-fire. O-Kill's looking for the pinch over towards top stairs at main as well, but not going to be able to lock in any individual member of BDS just yet. Lems continues to be elusive from the inside of open. Finally gonna make a play here, but it's way too bold. Just walks right out into O-Kills, as well as the other player holding the front lobby office. He's gonna go down without dishing out any damage in return.
Lems just getting caught out there on the rotation. He does have Shaiko below with the heartbeat scanner, and I imagine Shaiko was feeding a little bit of information there over to him. Isn't going to be followed up with any sort of refrag from BDS. They are all entrenched in the site right now, and they don't want to give that up at the moment. Going to be no point rotating to try and redeem one of those kills. Instead, they need to be focused at the job at hand, which is now, of course, going to be trying to deny any sort of push that's coming through. J-Lad going to make a nice little hole there in through to the bomb site as he can look to move through and start to try and get a plan down. Ranchiro, Shaiko both playing inside of Gold Corridor. Shaiko just a little bit looser inside of the garage there. They know that this plant is going to be starting to come down. They've still got quite a bit of utility to burn as well. 3 toxic Babe canisters. Playday can get in position to use them. That's going to stem out a lot of the time here.
Good news for Falcons. We just saw that drone sneak through, getting full intel on the entirety of this security setup. So perfect for the Falcons. They know exactly, or they should know at least, where every single one of these defenders in that area is going to be playing from. Shaiko gets the first pickup, but a nice nade from Joker immediately exchanges that back out. Still going to see the Falcons lead the charge here, bringing it down. It's going to have to be Rafal to bring it back, but no, Heat as well can only go for 1 kill. Ranchiro now stands alone here in the 1v3, sets up the trade versus Mad Skills at least, but with no real way to deny this plant. We'll have to be heroic here in the clutch. The peek out from Red, the pre-fire's there from Kotos though, and the Falcons claim the first round of the tournament, or the first round of the series.
Great round there from Mad Skills as well. All he did in that round, he opened up the hatch outside of Tellers, and he dropped it and picked up a kill. Played so patiently. Didn't have to give himself loads to do inside of the round. It was all about that timing, and that little bit of a hatch drop there into goal really opened things up. Falcons doing a great job of just picking BDS apart there. Good utility usage as well. We just got a glimpse there of the nade that was almost left as martyrdom after Shaiko had already picked up the kill. And again, a good plant-focused round, looking to extend that timer and really give themselves the advantage. BDS are going to give it another go down here, and they're going to mix things up a little bit.
Nice, slow, and composed push overall from the Falcons, not giving a whole lot over to BDS, and not even really taking a whole lot for themselves over the course of the round. Just as you said, very execute-focused style of play, and they slowly are able to isolate out BDS, forcing them to make the aggressive plays and peek, at least as we saw for the last player there, directly into the Falcons setup, giving them the large majority of those kills. Obviously, the first one they pick up as well against the road game coming in from Alems helps out also, as it's just a chain of frags that's needed realistically for them to be able to win that, and that's pretty much exactly how they deploy themselves into the execute. A few chain dips going to come in from BDS. Lems will more than likely end up taking a bit more of a passive role in this round, but hold my breath on that for just a moment. He's still going to be quite adventurous up here on the second floor, but that could still be him trying to hunt down a bit of an earlier drone while still falling back here to try and reinforce the site. And of course, the hatches with the 2 electric claws that help bring with this kit.
Those electric claws are going to be very difficult to deal with, given that Maverick hasn't been brought here. Mad Skills just rocking the Hibana, so it is going to cause a little bit of a problem in terms of getting those hatches open, especially given that there's no real way of achieving that downstairs. Now, Alems looks as though he's going to maybe try and trick this one off. We have already seen the X-Karos pellets actually detonated on, but I don't believe he's replaced the electric claw just yet. Mad Skills still chilling out there inside of main lobby. He's going to drone ahead and just see if anyone's hanging outside of the bottom of those main stairs. Shaiko below on the heartbeat scanner, able to gather that information. He knows where O-Kills is going to be coming from. So Falcons are playing this very similar to the way that they played the last round. We are going to see that elevator hatch now opened, and it is going to give that option for that backsided push once again.
Then, of course, the Mavericks switched away, so the reinforcements that are there via the electric claws are going to be a little tough for them to be able to breach past. Going to try and insert a nade in the general area of those electric claws, and obviously, at least for these 2 hatches, it's not really going to be an option until they get themselves fully into the basement, at which point they won't truly need the hatch until they get to the post plant. Anyway, Nitro up through the small office hatch, and it's going to land true directly on top of Mad Skills to knock him out first this round, as this time it's BDS that steals away the opening frag from the Falcons, and obviously these the Falcons a little bit worse for wear here in terms of what their next move should be. Once again, though, free drone is allowed to go all the way through the CCTV setup, gives them great intel about how to proceed from this point forward. In fact, it's looking like JLAD's going to make at least an opening play here to set up some utility. We'll have to see if this leads into anything else.
Just biding the time now. They know that they've got a little bit of the clock to work with here. JLAD is eventually going to push in quite aggressively here on the crouch wall. He's got himself a great line of sight onto Renshiro, and he's going to look to line one up onto Shaiko as well. Keeps himself safe for the time being. The Goyo does get popped. It's going to deal a little bit of damage out there. We are seeing gunfights heavily happen in around that main stair area. A couple of kills flying in there. BDS, they're going to pick up 2. As Playday is credited with 1 from the Goyo canister, should I say, as well. It's Kotas, 25 seconds. He's left out in the cold. That's going to cut off his line of approach. BDS now know where he's going to be coming from. Shaiko's still able to watch out. Now we're seeing the Toxic Babe canisters detonated. It's going to be Shaiko to pick up that last kill. Much better round there from BDS.
And I hope for Kotos, unfortunately, inside of the 1vx. He has to try and play his best inside of that scenario, but it's too far gone. Even with the good drone intel built up, that is going to continue to be a problem for BDS if they aren't able to get a handle on that. And denied is it's 2 rounds in a row now. The Falcons had full intel about what exactly was sitting towards the depths of that security site. Thankfully, they're still able to fend it off this time off the backs of that early kill, as well as great composure when we started to see the pressure sent in, especially from the Nomad played out by Falcons. A little bit of a blunder for them there, as it does drop the case very deep in enemy territory too, and makes it pretty difficult for the rest of the squad to try and recenter and at least make a bid to try and get a plant there on that second attack in the basement.
Round number 3 is going to see a change of site. We're going to head upstairs into open area here. The BDS was successful downstairs. They are forced into that rotation. No initial changes in the lineup from the Falcons. They are going to switch off the Ossa onto a Book instead. So going to look to prioritize some of that vertical play that is available here on this site.
10 seconds left.
BDS are rocking their same usual castle setup. This time Playday is going to be playing on the castle as opposed to Renshiro. Just a little bit of a roll swap there. The pick that really draws my attention, Blue, here is going to be Alems on the Oryx. Now, we've spoken about Alems on the Nook and how good he can be on the Nook, but he was also a bit of a pain on the Oryx as well yesterday. A lot of opportunity on this map, particularly for hopping up through hatches and using the burst of speed to gain quick rotations. I imagine that's what he's going to try and do again here.
Even just through this site as well, should stock go uncontested. I'm sure if the BDS members ended up leaving that soft or not, or just straight up open, but let's find out in just a moment here. As you can see, there's going to be a janitor hatch that's been left into play. Both of those leave a window of opportunity for that Oryx to potentially re-engage onto the second floor in a later point in the round, should that moment of opportunity arise. But it's quick from Joker. He's going to walk right in, completely misses Shaiko, hiding in the corner of open, though, so it's a free opening pickup for BDS again here, at the cost of the Finka for the attackers as well.
What a strange play. I mean, Joker, like, why is this happening? What are you doing? What are you hoping to achieve by rushing into side like that? He was lucky to get past Renshiro inside of Tellers, never mind Shaiko hiding behind the desk. It's a nice kill that BDS are going to say, thank you very much, we take those ones for free. Shaiko, he's not done there though, he's going to take O kills down. He's getting multiple kills from this single area alone, barely having to move his feet before being credited with 2. And the Falcons push looks a little bit disjointed from here. We still have Mad Skills out there on the rappel. We've got J-Lad looking to clear this top floor. There's going to be nobody there, as we can see with the X-ray vision. He can look to maybe try and make a couple of holes vertical here, especially if Kotos gets up to assist. But realistically, where do you go from here?
Yeah, Shaiko's just had far too easy of a time being able to shut down some of these opening aggression. And unfortunately, the members of the Falcons are not really going to be left with a whole lot else to play. And speaking of Shaiko, there he is once again, cutting down J-Lad as he attempts to make a play. I believe from the bottom end of main stairs there is where he meets his demise. Obviously, Mad Skills trying to make up for it, pick up the trade, but Shaiko still has a pretty strong position over by the elevators. And I believe has even been able to shift since then. Mad Skills popping this hatch, getting breached here. Not going to be able to play into it too heavily just yet. Eventually, he gets beaten out by Alems on the hot room as well. Koto's the last one standing here. He does get a single trade, but that's all the team will take home on this round, as it's fairly one-sided for BDS to shut it down off of a few blunders from the Falcons at the start of it.
You cannot afford to feed Shaiko kills. Siege is a game where everything gets reset after every single round. There is no advantage to gaining multiple kills other than confidence. Somebody like Shaiko is dangerous at the best of times. You give him a little bit of confidence, you feed him a couple of freebies, he is going to be very difficult to deal with indeed. Look at him go, 4 kills on the round there. Picking up this last one as well. I think it was worth noting, Shaiko is around 26 kills behind O kills going into this fixture, so BDS haven't played as many maps as the Falcons have. Falcons have had a lot of 2-1 victories. BDS have had a lot of 2-0 victories. They haven't dropped a map yet moving into this grand finals. As such, the kills are a little bit skewed. And O kills is around 26 kills ahead of Shaiko going into this. There is a prize for the highest kill getter inside of the tournament, the player credited with the most kills. And already Shaiko is looking to try and extend that lead a little bit. It would be very difficult for him to catch up, but it's still possible.
Yeah, obviously, if we see O-Kills keep pace with the games that he's had previously, more than likely, we will still end up seeing that 25K bounty go towards him. But obviously, if his performance is falling off to a huge degree in this series is to go the full distance, maybe, just maybe, we can see Shaiko close that gap, especially with him having rounds like that. Running a bit something for the Falcons. Hey, let's give him a chance, you know, give him a few more of those kills, give him an opportunity to make this a bit more competitive. But
if there's one player that could do it, it's going to be Shaiko, isn't it? You know, he is regularly in there for, regardless of BDS's placing inside of a tournament, Shaiko's always up there as most kills.
So the Falcons going to look to quickly course correct for their mistakes on the previous 2 rounds here. We'll have to go into a new pasture to handle those. Obviously, we're upstairs on the hold now, and that has led into a few changes to BDS's lineup as well. Lem's changing his roamer also. He's going to be going over to the Vigil for this round, already priming himself for a potential play, too. You can see Kotos creeping up to that corner. over here inside of Square, but the shield from the Osa is going to be supporting it to a good degree. Lems moves out. He's got to remember, though, the beeper is sitting over here by the door. They will activate. More than likely, some of the Falcons able to hear that down below. We'll keep Overwatch to his position now, but Shaiko also doing double duty here, trying to fend off some of the pressure coming in from that same top square position that his teammate down below is watching. He also has to fend off some of this play coming in from stock also, and this is where things might get a little bit dodgy for Shaiko, as it might just be a bit too much pressure for him to contend against, but he's still ready for the challenge. Goes for the peek against the corner of one of the stock windows there, but realizes what may be coming out against him, so begins to back up as he takes up a position over here towards the top stairs instead.
Seems like Shaiko and Alems are doing everything inside of this round. They're really battling back against the Falcons, trying to get control of top square. Alems is playing extremely patiently on blue, and he's got the opportunity to rotate there as well. He doesn't need to play too aggressively. If he can just sit and maybe pick himself up one, even if he leaves himself in position to rotate, it will be a job well done. Shaiko now concerned with the skylight, a horrible angle to be trying to challenge onto. He's looking more than likely to get a little bit lucky here if anybody from Falcons chooses to peek over. He's still got the small matter of that pressure coming in through stock. We can hear the wub wub activate now as he's coming under increasing fire. Takes a good chunk of damage there and might need to dip down out of these stairs. Bit of vertical pressure coming in there onto Kotos as well. I'm afraid that Osa shield is not going to help you if someone is shooting through the floor. Lems has picked his time to make that rotation. There's 2 kills fly in here for the Falcons.
It's going to be 2 players holding those upstairs positions here, but mind you, Falcons have wasted a whole lot of time being able to pick up these kills, but that might not matter a whole lot. The members of the Falcons quickly carving control over the site. Shaiko, the only one remaining, and O-Kills quick to clean him up as well. Definitely stretched for time, but they are eventually able to fend off that exterior pressure by stalking top stairs to open up a window for themselves to swing into the site and take control. That'll be 2-2 now as we go into the 5th round.
Not a great deal separating these 2 teams at the moment. The tertiary site there for BDS not working out. I imagine we will head back down to the basement now for round number 5. So there wasn't a great deal they could do to stop the pressure coming in. As soon as Falcons hit that go button, as soon as they decided that they were going to full commit into that execute, kills really did start to fly in their favor. BDS, could you critique them for being a little bit too passive potentially inside of that last round? I commented it. Alems and Shaiko seem to be doing all of the work. You had Renshiro, Playday, and Rafal all playing deep back inside of the site. Obviously, they were looking to control the banana area of things, but just didn't manage to do so.
So you can see the crowd obviously favoring them, the hometown heroes here. They want to see if this challengers can be able to take down one of the Titans from Europe and claim, for the first time that we're seeing Meta get to this stage as well, the title on top of it would certainly be a huge victory for both this team as well as the region. Once again, we're seeing them grow quite competitively here at this tournament. Let's see what the future holds for the rest of Meta as well. But BDS, once again, also looking to take charge here. We'll see if they can chain together their 2nd consecutive defense on the basement. Now having it unlocked here. A little bit of a change up to the way they're going to be defending it as well. Of course, we can see the Echo now coming in for them. Still going to be relying on that Pulse for some of the intel to play into here. And then Renshiro also going to bring out the Goyo canisters. They've realized the delay tactic worked out well when they went for the 2nd try on this one, so they're going to double down on that by bringing both the smoke as well as the Goyo canisters.
The only thing they've substituted out really for the Echo is going to be the Cade. And I think the Cade worked quite well in slowing down this hatch pressure. Obviously, Falcons at this point now know, okay, they're probably going to be rocking the Cade. We're going to bring the Thatcher instead. But it still just eats up a little bit of time and forces a little bit more coordination. BDS obviously feeling as though they can get away with a different pick and a little bit more utility there as well. O-Kills just going to be at the top of these main stairs. This is becoming quite the player tendency. Every single round that we've seen Falcons attack onto the basement, O-Kills always gets himself onto the main stairs looking to cut off those rotations, and sometimes is successful in doing so. Going to get the hatch open now into server as Falcons going to be setting themselves up. Renshiro forced out for the time being, grabs a drone on his way out of there, but doesn't want to play too aggressively.
Definitely not something you want to be losing here. We already saw how the loss of just 1 or 2 players from BDS led to their inability to try and frag out a trade war versus the Falcons when we came down to a low time to execute. Falcons, though, getting all the hatches they more than likely want open here. Might see a little bit more delay as they may attempt to try and pop open things over here above the Gold Bar's vault as well, and indeed they will, opening that up for themselves as a potential last-ditch effort. They might actually still be using this too, as we have quite a bit of presence centered around it right now, but O-Kills will be the first to actually venture down into the basement itself, looking for just a little pinched angle, but Shaiko Shaiko comes dashing out, realizing that he's been immobilized by going prone, and as a result, he gets the first kill here of the round for BDS.
Attackers recovered the bomb diffuser.
No one looking to challenge Shaiko there inside of the garage. It's kind of surprising to not see somebody just sent in through garage to deal with that. Obviously, it's getting more increasingly difficult as the rounds go on, with Rafal playing on the Echo this time. We will likely have a Yokai drone inside of garage. We are starting to see Kotos now make that play. There is a bulletproof ride at the end, but with nobody dead on BDS, it's unlikely to be currently being watched, especially with the pressure that is being applied on the site. Kotos eventually will be credited with the kill onto Shaiko, and now with garage control, Falcons can look to try and make something happen.
Indeed they will, trying to work their way in. You can see Joker, though, struggling as he's been pincered, sitting at the edge of the site, going to be forced down into it as well. Renshiro to pick one up, but Joker succeeds, only for one, though. Playday trades him back out and leaves Mad Skills alone on an island. He'll try to venture forward into the depths of lockers, but he's got at least 2 players to contend with. First one taken down, 2 more to go, but time also getting low. However, that's not going to stop him. What will instead is going to be a Lems coming back up from the gold bars to shut down things inside of the 1v1 and lock in the round for BDS by just a hair.
Coach, by the way. Mad Skills is the coach. Incredible stuff coming out there, a valiant effort right up until the bitter end. Good adaptation as well from Falcons to say, you know what, Shaiko's a nightmare in garage, let's go and deal with him. And they did just exactly that, but unluckily, or unfortunately should I say for them, it wasn't quite enough. There was still enough players from BDS dug in deep with the Lems there to pick up that final kill. They are successful once again inside of the basement. We likely now move into open area. This was a bit of a weird round last time, Blue. This was the round where Joker just sort of strolled into side and kind of just gave his life away for free. It was a really soft sort of opening exchange. I highly doubt that we see, or at least I hope that we don't see the same again coming in here. And already there's a couple of changes coming in the lineup. We're going to bring out the Thermite instead. We might be about to see something a little bit more structured this time.
Yeah, realistically, it was a bit of a throwaway round from the Falcons ever since we saw that push come in from Joker. And then a second player was also lost due to the aggression of Shaiko coming back out there in an attempt to refrag him too. So Falcons never really stood much of a chance. So we're going to get hopefully a bit of a better picture in terms of how they look to approach this time. For the BDS roster, we're not really going to see any huge change-ups. The Lems, of course, will go back onto the Oryx. We can continue to roam around the upstairs extension and support the more hard lock players here as needed. Lems want to be a little bit even more aggressive here with the window peak, but it doesn't look like he's going to get anything from the Falcons. We got no silhouettes on that part of the map, so more likely he'll be backing away from that and will position himself to take up the next fight against some of these more forward plays from the other members of the Falcons. We can see J-Lad hoping to get lucky here with the skylight over main stairs. Nothing to be found at this point in the round, however, so he'll just chuck in a drone and establish that.
Falcons are being quite cautious in the opening part of the round. Banks are very easy maps to start fall foul to things like spawn peaks on, and the fact that Lems is going for them shows that BDS are willing to play a little bit more risky here. The Falcons are often keeping themselves very safe indeed. Lems does manage to just dodge out of the line of sight there. I'm not sure if he took the drone out that was placed on the main stairs, but he's showcasing the Oryx ability fantastically here as he's able to not only destroy the hatch, but also leap up and very quickly make that rotation, eventually picking out J-Lad. So fantastic little play there from Lems. A little bit of parkour around the map to make that one happen.
J-Lad as well, I believe, was the player peeking from Skylight, so we're going to see him get eliminated. Curious to see how he ended up getting himself into the fight, whether it was just direct contention from those stairs or somewhere else. But for the Falcons, regardless, we see them continue to move forward. Now with the majority of the second floor under their control, but obviously a player down from that and missing 1 out of 2 of their hard breaches. Obviously they had the insurance policy in Mad Skills, still bringing the Thermite, so not going to be worse for wear in that just yet. And even better, some of these hatches have already been pre-broken to allow for the rotations for the players on BDS to fall back down. Now that they have that kill, obviously they're not going to be too adventurous beyond getting that 5v4 advantage, so everyone from the side of BDS is locked into the site or an extended position from there on the first floor now, just awaiting the execute coming from the Falcons, and I think we may be getting it quite soon here as they're starting to build themselves up for the square push. Renshiro, though, shuts down the first of that aggression as Joker gets knocked out as well here, removing the Finka and those last 2 adrenal surges from play.
With no vertical pressure, players like Renshiro can just sit inside of tellers very happily. Kotos has managed to gain a bit of a line of sight here and is looking to see if he can find anything, as we're going to get the wall open now at the bottom of that square. We did miss the impact trick there from Shaiko, so the wall will be opened. But unless they know about Renshiro playing in the corner, it could be very risky indeed. Mad Skills there going to be taken down, and with it, the diffuser cold on the ground, as O-Kills is going to be the last remaining hope here for Falcons inside of this round. 20 seconds left to go, and 4 kills to find. He does have an Ossa shield to hide behind, But equally, BDS know where he is, and they are likely just going to take their hands off their keyboards as they do not need to move here. And Shiro still in a bit of a dangerous position, tucked in behind that corner. As we can see, O'Kills, he's just looking for anything he can find. 4 seconds left on the clock, nothing going to happen here. Shaiko to pad his stats with another one to close out that round.
So a 4-2 scoreline will be locked in for the defense as we reach the end of the first half here. Things will look good for them indeed. So we're ready to flip sides, and now it's BDS's turn to show us what they can do on the attack to close out this game. Just the remaining quarter of the rounds left here will need to be picked up, as they need 3 out of the next 6 to be able to take map number 1 and lock in the first of 3 for this series. Keep in mind that, folks, we got a best of 5 for this finals today, so it's going to be quite a lengthy one. That's another factor that the Falcons and to some extent BDS will need to be ready to play into as well here, as they're both, I'm imagining, going to be relatively inexperienced with this length of a game, so this series to an extent will turn into that bit of a war of attrition if we end up going the full distance and end up on maps like 4 and 5. These players will need to make sure they can keep their stamina at a good point to be able to play things out for what realistically could become a 4 to 6 hour series here if we go all the way.
Falcons' turn to jump onto the defense now. We'll be going downstairs into lockers. Bit of an extension upstairs in tellers as well. So we've got a couple of reinforced panels getting placed out there. They too are going to lock in the Goyo and look to try and delay a little bit of that time and cut off some area. O'Kills and his trademark Mozzie pick. We've seen him play that operator so many times this series. They have actually left one of the hatches open though. 2 of the hatches open, as we see J-Lad just give the hatch into server a little bit of a punch with the bionic arm. He's going to place some laser gates out inside of open area as well. So quite the extension, realistically, especially given the utility. BDS, I'm not sure that they're bothered. They're bringing the Monty, and that usually speaks to a pretty direct side push.
It's well to see, too, because there's pretty direct contention to this from the Falcons. They've Kotos committed directly against the dirt tunnel hold here, and I'm imagining he's got a little bit of a setup for himself, too. No deployable shields in the lineup, but quite a few nitros, and still can obviously deploy yourself behind the server racks themselves to play this out, but he's realized this might become a little bit worse for wear here, especially if the square control is going to be crunched in, and that other player from the Falcons holding upstairs by electrical is not going to be able to maintain. So you'll see O'Kills here start to slowly back up closer towards open area as well. And Mad Skill's also still rotating through upstairs. Quite a split defense right now from the Falcons. And you may be right with what you were saying before. BDS with the confidence, and especially with the Montaigne, maybe going directly for the site play, especially if they've realized that there's a pretty big extension from the Falcons on the first and second floors.
Shaiko's going to get a great line of sight in a moment. Alems is already into the site, doing what he does best, but this time on the sledge, picks up one before being immediately traded. Koto's now feeling the heat, pops the Goyo canister. Great play there with the pistol. Rafal pushed straight back. That fire dishing out a huge amount of damage. We are going to see the wall open, and Rafal does manage to keep himself alive for the time being. Shaiko going to fall in the meantime as Mad Skills commands that top floor. So although the opening pick and a bit of a sneaky play from Alems worked out, it came at quite a cost.
Joker still waiting to try and pick off a few of these players as they work their way in, but the first target's going to be the Montaigne thrown out against him, so obviously nothing to be gained there. J-Lad catches this drone works and knows that he's been exposed on the top hatch as well. Will no longer have that obscurity to try and crunch this play with. He's also going to leave the site defense. It even killed 3v3, but obviously BDS kind of down a player to the fact that one's permanently on a shield. Joker shutting it down with the assistance of Mad Skills deeper in the site. Of course, massive credit going to Kotos for that as well, due to the heroic hold he had with the push that came in from Garage. But it all still falls to the Falcons as they bring it within 1 round's grasp of tying it up again, as they bring us up to 3-4.
Every round the Falcons win, the crowd just gets that little bit louder as well, and the chants reignite. Picking up that round downstairs on basement very successfully. Again, bit of a strange push from BDS given what was already open and available to them. They were really focusing in on that Monty pick, and things like the Goyo kind of just worked perfectly to try and counter that sort of a play. Rafal was never given time really to activate inside of that round. As such, we mix things up. We're going to head upstairs into open area. The second attempt here for Falcons on their defensive phase. A couple of 6 picks coming in from BDS as well. We're going to swap out a Thermite for a Fuse and a Monty for a Dokkaebi. So quite the unorthodox lineup coming out here from BDS. No hard breach, potentially a secondary hard breach gadget, but you're really going to be looking toward what Alems can do with Sledge on that vertical pressure, and obviously with the nades as well.
Attackers are moving to defuse the bomb.
Right, so the Falcons looking to try and close things up here with that open area hold, and BDS, of course, bringing pretty much the same lineup we saw them bringing for this assault yesterday as well. Specifically, of course, adding the fuse element into this one for Playday, with the secondary exception of having that secondary hard breach utility as well. You consider the fact that we don't necessarily have any direct hard breach for the team to play into. Going to be a very important player, as he'll be crucial for trying to pop open any hatches upstairs if they were reinforced, and potentially that sidewall to lead into the site from lower square too. He's going to be wanting to keep Playday very safe because of that, and he'll also be the planter in this situation. But it's Rafal with the snipe to start the round off. Lems picks one up too. The extended game from the Falcons is going to, unfortunately, just not work out at all here. Both Mad Skills and O-Kills going down within the first minute of play. JLad trying to contend against this, but he too taking some heat. Thankfully, Kotos once again saving the day as he rushes out and at least is able to find an exchange against Shaiko and remove the Finka along with her nades from play.
Still a lot of damage to take in the opening parts of the round, and Lionscan going to come in to root these defenders in place. Kotos maybe looking to get aggressive here at the top of square. Playday with a really long angle though onto that double door, so if anyone does cross, it's more than likely going to receive a little bit of damage on the way. Lems can start ripping open some of this floor now and make Tellers and Archives pretty dangerous to be in as a defender, and that should force a little bit of a rotation. JLad, he's still looking for this peak. He's still desperate to get himself outside. But I'm not sure he's got an idea as to where the player for BDS is. It was Playday, and they were out there on the rappel, nowhere near the copy window. Lems is still looking to try and work this vertical, and he is going to be rewarded. No say again, Kotos hits him with the reverse headshot there with the Vector. Fast fire rate straight through those beams. It's going to be enough to level things up here, 3 versus 3.
Joker ready to contend against the pressure from Copy, or should we see it come to fold for BDS? And very much might be the case. BDS are looking for a new horizon to push into. Unfortunately, haven't had the best of luck getting it just yet. The play from the top side of things has not panned out for them. We are going to see the first of those 2 can openers get used from Playday. That'll be the explosion you heard off in the distance. Still not able to justify a play into the site just yet. Maybe changing now, though, with Renshiro popping open the main castle barricade that blocks off access to the site, but Kotos again just can't get away from it. Now Joker able to succeed too. Playday will throw in the first of those fuse charges, but it's pretty much a moot point, seeing as he's now the only player left alive. Is going to have a serious lack of intel in terms of where the shots were coming from as well. So not going to have the greatest play capability to clutch this one out in the 1v3. Beautifully done by the Falcons, as Kotos once again saves the day with some heroic mid-round. To see that site at least one more time in this game, as the Falcons will unlock it in 2 more rounds. But for the time being, they've got to go to their tertiary here on the 2nd floor, the same one that BDS picked into. We're going to see that same style of delay come out from the Falcons, mainly with the Koyo canisters. It's been working this well for Kotos, so no real reason to switch away from it. And of course, those canisters can still delay just as prominently up here. But away from that, Mad Skills will also make a return to the Echo to try and stem the tide should we see BDS get enough control to go for a swing-in on the rappel, where Falcons may not be able to directly fire back if they've been pushed out of areas like the meeting room and janitor.
We maybe see the Dokubi pick stick this time from Rafal as well. He hovered it in the last round, then ended up on the Lion. This time it is going to get locked in along with the ace for Playday, just switching off that thermite. JLad going to be showing us what he can do on the Oryx as well this time, as we often speak of Lems' prowess on this operator, but it looks as though we might have to start adding JLad into the list, particularly if he has a couple of successful pushes and plays in round number 9 here. Typical setup on this top floor. There's going to be a lot of Azami Kiba barricades to deal with and a little bit of information exchange, as Rafal's actually got a great drone nice and deep inside of the site.
Lems ready to try and start nading out the site as well. We don't have a whole lot of utility mitigation either, so anything that they're able to predict in terms of where utility is going to be positioned is probably going to land quite true, as we see Kotos taking just a tad of damage there. Uncertain if he had anything surrounding him. Obviously not going to see a Goyo barricade get taken out. There's a possibility for something else to have been here. Lems as well, pre-firing into it so close to the shots against Kotos, and we do actually see a bullet or 2 connect onto him at the end of that chain. Another one's going to be found, but it's not enough yet to get the full kill against him, and the same can be said for O-Kills here. BDS so close to these opening frags, they just can't finish it off.
Certainly dealing a bit of chip damage though, and that's only going to help them in the later portion of the round. A lot of these rounds have been quite close and scrappy toward the end. Any damage you can get out now is always good. We are going to see Lems pick up a kill there onto Madskill's. Beautifully timed adrenal surge boost from Shaiko as well, just to give him the extra oomph in that fight. Madskills falls on the Echo. Not really the person that you want to be losing first.
Definitely not the case. So now BDS positions himself on the exterior window, wanting to try and fend off any direct challenges that may come in further down the hallway, leading into Jay as well as Stock needs to get things open here, but J-Lad was not dealt with deeper in the site. Big hop from Joker, but it's going to be caught immediately by Rafal. All for naught there on the run out from him, but he does get the intel on 2 players on Repel. However, this is pretty default, so more than likely would have already been expected. Great read from BDS, more than likely with a drone somewhere in lobby to read this push and prevent being picked off, as we'll see those players repel back down into safer corridors. O'Kills ready to fend off that pressure coming in from top square 2, but Shaiko and the rest of BDS may not need it at this point. They have the breaches, they have the sight lines, so they can more than likely take the risk on moving in without that, considering they also have the repelled angles to work with, and here we go. BDS already halfway through the plant. J-Lad making a mad dash to the back of square, but Shaiko already making quick work of one of his teammates. BDS, the planter, will be taken down, and O'Kills also going to be able to grab one from his new position on the inside of Meeting. Evens out the player count into a 2v2. And we'll also see both the Falcons players get back the immediate area, where obviously we have the diffuser down on the ground. O'Kills will venture toward this, try to tap on it. Both these players are low. They can't fight forever. J-Lad will make the hop out. He'll go down to Rafal. And now this leaves O'Kills in a very, very tough scenario. Still gets the first of 2 needed, but that second one out on Repel is going to be so, so tough. This is all a mind game. He'll get himself off of that counter defuse first. The next one, no, needs to stick, and he's got just enough time to go back to it. What a huge clutch from O'Kills, as Falcons are going to snatch this round right out of the hands of BDS.
That hurts if you are a BDS fan or indeed a BDS player. That is not a situation you want to be losing like that. A fantastic play from O'Kills, picking up all the kills required and still having enough time. Rafal is likely going to feel a little bit responsible for that one. It is a fine, fine art playing a post plant and playing a post planted diffuser like that. It all is about your bottle. It all is about your metal. Rafal's metal was tested. A shame as well, because he picked up 2 great kills on runouts. Two kills that were flying out of windows, trying to take him down. He was there, ready and waiting. These guys were dead before they'd even hit the ground. But they hadn't accounted for O'Kills.
Yep, beautifully played either way from the Falcons, specifically for O'Kills there. Knew he had to try and go for a bit of a mind game play, fake him out with that first counter defuse. Had to go back to it, I think, a second time as well to get him to peek one more time. Obviously, you're on the other end of that. BDS, I don't think, had any preset drones on the inside of there, so would have had no idea when he was getting on and off of that, just purely based on audio cues. And unfortunately, he just goes a bit too adventurous there on that final peek. Didn't even really want to commit to it, but was just a bit too far out. As the O'Kills can see him from just on the inside of that window, and he shuts him down, giving him the clutch with quite literally just enough time. He gets onto that counter fuse with probably half a second or less of additional excess there, to where he would have run out of time. As mind you, you need at least 7 seconds if you're newer to Siege on that clock there to be able to successfully pull off the counter defuse.
Madskill's just keeping an eye out over onto that main repel. He did die there a couple of rounds ago. I think it was BDS that was maybe credited with that one. But we've seen a lot of nice one-taps from Madskills so far this tournament. I wouldn't mind seeing another couple here. It looks as though BDS are more than aware of these games and they're not looking to make any early mistakes inside of this round. They are now in a situation where they have to be flawless on these remaining sites, because that third choice bomb site, CEO upstairs, is a site as an attacker that you are expected to win. The fact that BDS did not win in there means that, well, basement, that's been going the way of the defenders. Sure, Falcons have picked up 1 round on their own attack, but BDS up until this point have been unsuccessful. So they're going to need to break the mold here and pick up some rounds in sites they have previously lost.
Not a great sight to see as well, considering that this was, generally speaking, the stronger part of the game from BDS and previous parts of the tournament. This attacking side has been oftentimes what we've been talking about for BDS, specifically for Alems. This has not been able to make the impact so far. The real highlight's been Shaiko, as once again he strikes true, knocking out Madskills as well, taking the Legion out from play only about halfway through the round, so limiting the amount of those goo mines that would have gone down. Didn't really seem like that was the main point for Madskills, so he's not going to be losing too much sleep over that. His job was done in terms of wasting time, and now the rest of the squad needs to pick up pace down below.
Joker inside of main lobby. I'm not sure if Shaiko knows he's there. He does have a ping to work with. Is he going to be able to get the heads up? Yes, he is. 2 kills on the round for Shaiko. All you do is give him a ping, and he's like a guided missile, Blue. He just goes in and picks it up for free. No questions asked. There's a little bit of presence inside of Garage now as well, and I think that's probably going to be a Lems that's credited with the kill over onto Kotos. O'Kills knows that someone's sitting there behind the ambulance and needs to try and do something about it. We've seen a good portion of the round, but there are only 2 Falcons players remaining, and they're not really the 2 that you look to for a clutch, and a Rooney with a DMR isn't the most ideal, but say that J-Lad's going to make it work anyway. He takes Shaiko down on those main stairs. Nice headshot. Bride is looking to get a plant in though and confirm this round as Renshiro eventually puts an end there to J-Lad. O'Kills is going to find one to pad his stats, but was it worth it? The diffuser's already been planted. Bride, a plant and a kill to close things out. BDS looking much better there on the basement.
Might just be one of those scenarios where O'Kill's like, yeah, this round's pretty much over. I'm just going to try and pad the stats, keep myself in a nice...
He's got to keep ahead of Shaiko. He's got to do his best, man.
Exactly that. So might have just been one of those scenarios there for him as he saw the easier kill in Garage and at least wanted to get that confirmation of the 1-for-1. But Shaiko indeed trying to keep pace ahead of O'Kills at this point. He's ahead of him in this game by 5 kills. Mind you, I think he's about 28 or so behind at the beginning of this game. So we need to definitely keep a bit more pacing than that if he wants to try and catch them before the end of this series. For the Falcons, though, now tied up once again at 5-5. They're actually going to redo this. Despite the fairly one-sided nature of how that last round played out, they'll head into it for one more trial. And we've got a very interesting pick for Kotos. He's feeling the confidence now. He's been promoted to Doc.
Is that a promotion?
I don't know.
I mean, it's something,
I'm just going with the saying, you know?
Maybe that's the kind of promotion that you think you want and you don't really want it.
I mean, for a basement site,
Unless Kotos is just going to fly himself out of main door. It's always a good strategy. Pick the dock, get a decent site, juice yourself up, fly out the main door and see if there's anything that you can make happen. Doesn't look as though that's going to be happening, though, due to his positioning right now. Would like to see some early aggression here, though. Is he actually getting himself hidden there inside of open? I think he's maybe lying under a desk or something like that, just looking to make something happen. Falcons are more than happy to meet BDS in the field as well. I think that's something that I noticed in the last round. They're not bothered about the fact that this is a great turtle site and you can just defend it. They're like, yeah, we're going to get out there, we'll play around the map and we'll see if there's anything that we can pick up before dropping back. And if we get back, great. If we don't get back, as long as we've wasted some time and maybe got a kill, then that's going to be seen as a win in our book.
The rest of BDS going to begin to take some of their first steps onto the interior of the building, and their first frag as well. 2 ways as they'll knock out J-Lad with a frag grenade. Taking him down, eliminates the Rooney. Obviously the laser gate still will stay in place. No utility lost here, but at the same time, that won't be true for our attackers as O'Kill gets the exchange out against Shaiko and removes all that very useful attacker-sided utility. Mad Skills also going to be able to find what I assume was a very smooth one-tap to go out against Renshiro. Both the Carbon operators knocked out. Now is the Lion also down, and another push by Spiral to take down a Lems as well. Mad Skills taking no prisoners here on this extended hold. Way more success in this avenue this time for the Falcons.
Mad Skills owns top floor, and you better believe it. You can't even go into bottom floor. He's going to have something to say about it. Picked up 2 great kills there. BDS already left in the mud here. 2 versus 4. Sure, they've got a minute and a half, but they've got 2 hard breaches left. You're not looking to the hard breaches typically for a boatload of frags. Let's see how Rafal and Bride choose to buddy up and finish this one out. Bride just going to be pushing in through tunnel, going to be greeted immediately with a Kiba barricade. Information is going to be available for them should they want it, but it looks as though they're just going to be going for little picks here and there. You got a glimpse there onto the Legion. Didn't manage to land the finishing blow, though. With one of the walls, I think both of the walls actually left soft, it's actually going to be very difficult to breach, and therefore you are likely just going to be forced to use that main door. Mad Skills gets himself juiced up there by the dock, just ready for the next engagement. Bride is just going to be playing this one fairly patiently.
BDS, unfortunately, not much else they can do in this scenario. They know that the Falcons want to play aggressively, as we've just seen with Joker, taking a risk despite things being down to a 4v2. Bride finally given his window of opportunity against O'Kills, but is not going to be able to successfully leverage the kill. And even worse, obviously, we're going to see those Kiba barricades go out and allow for O'Kills to rotate himself back into a safer position. He gets a little bit of that HP back as well. Here's Kotos uses the last of his charges to boost up his teammates and also send Mad Skills back up to above full HP. Bride just hunting for frags at this this point, trying to pick up the best that he can. He's going to see this push come back out against him from top blue. There's a sending frag, as unfortunately not a whole lot else he's going to be able to do with only 5 seconds left. The round is locked in for the Falcons, and while another down against O'Kills, can't confirm it's no credit there as the Falcons get to map point first.
Falcons looking very good on bank indeed. Are they going to put our analysts to shame, Blue? Both of our analysts, Fresh and Tristan.
And to be fair to them, I thought this one would go towards BDS's way as well.
I mean, they said the immortal words, didn't they? They said BDS takes it. And we all know what happens when that gets said. So there's still chance. Obviously, there's still chance for BDS to force an overtime here. Falcons sitting on map point here for our first map inside of the best of 5. Already we're getting treated. The potential of overtime in map number 1. This could be a very long evening if all of these maps go the same and we see all 15 rounds in every single one.
Grab some stacks, grab some drinks. Maybe not now, maybe we'll wait like 5-10 minutes as we still have the rest of this map to go, but still lock in, ladies and gentlemen, as we are indeed looking at potentially a very, very long series here. The Falcons rebounding nicely. BDS as well getting some revenge thrown at them for yesterday's game. We saw them be able to come back from 2-4 deficits 2 times in a row to be able to knock out their opponents in 2-0 fashion. Now it's them that's potentially going to have to deal with that comeback, because it's the Falcons that have come back from that very same scoreline. They're about to end it if they can lock in just one more round. As you said, though, BDS also with the capability to send us to overtime if they can trade it back out. So let's see if they can do so on what could be the last hold from the Falcons on this map. It'll be an open area hold from them. A few change-ups to the lineup as well. O'Kills, of course, is still going to be sticking onto the Azami. Aside from that, we'll see Kotos go over to a new operator. He's finally ditched away and is going to pick up the Thunderbird here to give that team that extra aggressive capability, especially inside. Oh no, hold on, I've got to interrupt myself because here comes the play. They know what's happening though. Joker's able to fend off the first bit of it, but the rest of it's traded out. Renshiro and BDS picking up response kills and now establishing aggressive positioning here, but they're going to be smart about this. They hold themselves. They know the rotates are going to come in, but Kotos still able to strike true regardless, knocking out Renshiro inside of Electrical. How does the rest of the team work their way back into as they still lost the site, and the plant is going down. Alem's with another pickup as well, but O'Kill steals one the way from up on top. Won't interrupt the plant though. Playday confirms that, and now we're into a 2v2 post plant as the rest of the Falcons try to find a way to get themselves back into the fight.
This is terrifying on either side. 35 seconds left to go. Kotos, he doesn't know that Breeday's immediately to his right. O'Kill's going for a little bit of a rotation here. Could look to try and use some vertical. Hail Mary C4 going to go out, but it's not going to do anything other than give away Kotos' information and location here. He's going to get a couple of pre-fire shots out there, but it looks as though BDS know exactly where he is. Breeday is locked in. He's not wanting to move. Alems finds one. Breeday the second. The rush round from BDS pays off against all odds.
Nicely done from BDS, able to give them the winning strategy there. Close things out for themselves. Save the day, send us to that first map overtime, and keep things competitive inside of this series. They've had their own series of struggles, but they've still kept up with pacing, and are going to look to try and claim this first map for themselves. As we go into overtime now, we'll see the sides in just a moment here. Oftentimes, obviously going to be quite influential, but I'll be honest in that we've seen this be traded out quite evenly. The 4-2s for both sides. Now we'll have to see who brings us a stronger performance inside of overtime.
I must admit, I panicked when I saw BDS go for the rush. I really, really panicked indeed when I saw BDS just all Hail Mary through in from copy window. A rush on a match point? It's a bold strategy. It really is.
I mean, when you got nothing else, that's certain.
You think BDS must have something else.
Oh, yeah.
Like, they've got to have loads.
But at the same time, they know for a fact that the Falcons have been playing these hyper-extended plays, especially on open area as well.
Yeah.
Know that they're generally not going to have more than like 2 or maybe 3 players sitting in the actual site at the beginning. And when you're on open, which has those direct access points, especially from copy window to the outside of the map, that's probably the best site where you can take that opportunity. So beautifully played from BDS's in-game strategy department to make that type of decision. That ends up working out beautifully for them.
BDS are going to get attack on the overtime. It's not been their most favored side up until this point. Sometimes we do see that shift as we get into an OT though. Obviously they've had 6 rounds prior to this on the attack. They've had plenty of time to get warmed up on there. They are going to be attacking into the basement and once again going for this Monty play. Now, we didn't really see the Monty play work out too well previously. BDS have been unsuccessful attacking downstairs. O'Kills Just going to go for a little quick swing, finds the Monty almost immediately. But with the hatch open into server, he's really relying on his teammates above to keep good control, because as soon as that hatch falls into the hands of BDS, it's going to be very difficult for him to play there. And already he's getting pushed out of server and back further into the site as 2 BDS players are allowed to rotate through.
Tries to go for a chip headshot or 2 on the way out for a few of those other members of BDS. He's going to set up a bit of a tricky key, but wants to play out against it, as well as I believe they know that at least one player ventured towards the top of blue. No sign of a fallback from that player anytime soon, though. They have a flank overwatch established, but won't work out too well. Alems ends up getting taken down by J-Lad. Joker looking to try and contribute from the bottom portion. The archive stairs, looking for his own way to hop into this, and it's just all going towards the Falcons right now. Shaiko and Breed are all that's left. The Montaigne has also been lost this early on in the round here. So how exactly do BDS get back in it? Well, that's not the way. Shaiko getting fended off as Mad Skills continues successfully harassed from the second floor, and Joker still down below in the depths, fends off the last of the pressure coming in from server.
You can't challenge Mad Skills on the Legion. I'm just going to go out there and say, if you see a Mad Skills on the Legion, run the other way, because that guy is an absolute demon. Crowd getting plenty loud enough now for the Falcons as well. So they're going to be on map point again here. BDS a chance to try and take this to all the way. Maximum overtime. Again, a strange push from BDS, really relying on that Monty player that didn't work in round number 1. No intention of really taking that top floor control and dealing with the hatch. You can't just flood people into server if the hatch is going to be open. And then you're relying on your attackers and you're relying on your teammates to then take that top floor control. When you've got 3 people tied up in server, it's often not enough. That's exactly what we saw. BDS going to go downstairs now to see if they can make their stand down here. They have lost a round previously on the defense on this side, but this lineup looks extremely difficult to go up against. They're bringing the Goyo, they've got the Echo, got the Pulse, and of course that Smoke to really dish out a lot of that denial.
You can see the local crowd getting hyped out there. Obviously, their local team about to take the first map out of one of the best and brightest that at least the EU region has to offer us here in Siege. Lots of things to be excited about, but they still need that one final round. Let's see if they can get it. As indeed, we go back into another basement defense from the players on BDS, going to obviously center themselves much more heavily into their basement positions, as we can see the extended game on the last round. Play out too well for the Falcons. Even so, BDS has previously had success to a much better degree inside of regulation by playing things a bit closer to the chest on this site, so they're indeed going to now double down on that inside. Their final round on it, as of course they'll have the second attacking round coming up after this with the switching sides every round here in overtime. Falcons taking their time though with the early clear. They're a little bit worried about BDS maybe trying to do something a bit chaotic, especially considering what happened at the tail end of regulation. So they're going to be very, very cognizant in their clear of the second and probably the first floor as well before they begin looking for ways to venture down into the depths.
Probably a good time to bring up that we don't have unlimited overtime.
True.
For anyone that's used to the major format, sometimes grand final games do have unlimited overtime. We are just going to be playing straight regulation here. First to 8 inside of a max overtime situation. Which is probably fortunate, because this could go on for a very long time if we did have unlimited overtime, given that there's not a great deal separating these two right now. Falcons looking to try and take this one a little bit slower than they have done previously, as are BDS, of course. We haven't seen that same aggressive roam really from Alems. Alems is instead going to be in and around the site there, looking to make use of Oryx any which way he can, and not putting himself out there, risking that early pick.
I can still believe that there's a Cade in play here somewhere as well, as evident by that Thatcher EMP grenade that goes out. Worried about seeing those get tricked away. Not going to end up happening, though. Not going to see any real mitigation for that whatsoever brought in by the players on BDS, so Falcons will have no issue opening up the hatch work. Immediately, Mad Skills goes to work here, looking for anyone that might dare to peek out against it. He's going to go a little bit further to the right to be able to find that player from BDS holding into the corner just by gold bars, but they also fall back when Mad Skills finally peeks into it. Ranchiro would have been the one to potentially challenge against that a little bit further down the hallway. We have the pulse being played by Shaiko, ready to potentially hop into the fray as well, but it's going to be Ranchiro to strike first, catching J-Lad and eliminating the ace from the attackers here as they look for ways to move down, but so far unsuccessful in that, as BDS is holding strong with this very, very solid bunker setup.
25 seconds left to go is not a great deal of time here. Joker going to make his play in through Garage. A recipe for success that the Falcons have already seen today. Taking out Shaiko takes out a huge linchpin in this entire defense. His kills now do start to trade, but Alems is going to be there to fight back, keeping his team in it, but only just as Mad Skills is going to be down. Joker finished off as well. BDS hold firm downstairs, and we're going all the way.
All the way to our 15th and final round of play for map number 1. BDS has managed to take us that far, but can they indeed get the lock-in? This is a map that they'll definitely want to try and take for themselves as well, considering their performance on some of the other maps throughout the course of this series. It'll come down to the wire, though, and the Falcons still going to remain composed as they'll thankfully be able to go back onto a defensive round. But where they take it from here, though, they had that clutch success with the second floor hold, but more than likely going to want to probably rely on their open area hold, as we saw much more consistent results coming out from that over the course of the previous play. Let's get into it, though, and see where exactly they've gone. Is this it? The final round between these two teams for Bank, and indeed, they have selected the open area play where they have that freedom to get aggressive, to roam around a bit more. He'll have to watch out, of course, because BDS went for the rush play the last time this was selected, and it worked out well for them. So Falcons will more likely be keeping a close eye on that and at least keep some of this pressure a bit closer to the site for the first 30 seconds or so while they wait to see what the opening action will be from BDS.
I'm not sure if I can take it if BDS go for the rush again. I think it's far too dangerous to risk a rush on an overtime match point, but you never know, they may just go for it. Rafal still fairly unsure as to what he wants to pick onto, and it looks as though he's going to take up the hard breach mantle away from Playday as Playday switches over onto the Zephyr. Rafal the Hibana. They were threatening a Dokkaebi, they were threatening a Lion, but they have thought better of it. They've gone for something a little bit more traditional. Red Shiro still rocking his fuse pick here, which admittedly we haven't really seen come to all that much just yet.
Sure, at least going to establish this crossfire going deeper into Copier, and of course open area through that, going directly through a break room. That will Shaiko will also find from the top of one of the skylights here a little bit of it as well, but really nothing to write home about, at least initially. So we'll begin to pop open some of these barricades to begin hunting down the extended game, and indeed we'll see a much more composed BDS this round compared to the previous assault on this site. They'll be hunting down some of the more aggressively leaned members of the Falcons here, but doesn't have great intel into where exactly they position themselves just yet. And they're a little out of reach, too, focusing mainly on that elevator hold, which we're going to see Rafal open up a window of access to now.
Launching drone.
From the garage side, Repel. They'll use the drone to reconfirm if this player trying to rotate out and go somewhere else. This will also give Alems the confidence he needs to swing in. They've been able to isolate out some of the play from Mad Skills, and I believe the elevator player has also given things up here. They'll fall down through the hatch back down to the next floor below and give BDS that second story control that they need.
Bit of a belt and braces approach here from BDS. Alem's going to be credited with the first kill in this round, taking O kills down. Shaiko just looking to push himself down these main stairs. Gives him an adrenal surge just to give him a little bit of a boost as Mad Skills will drop into the basement. Maybe looks for a rotation up those main stairs, but of course Shaiko is going to be playing there. Nade going to get thrown on out and will connect onto Joker. Shaiko picks up a second, takes down Kotos, and a third! Shaiko's going nuclear here! Mad Skills going to be the only defender left alive. He's ripping down the castle barricade, trying to get himself back into sight, but he's 1 versus 5. There's a whole minute on the clock.
Gonna try to go adventurous here as he rotates around, has hot pings onto a few players. BDS, you can see them trying to make it panic, but no, it's not gonna work out. Renshiro moves forward, closes things down, and BDS are able to recover as things look scary for a few moments there, but they recenter, they rush their way, quite literally, into overtime, and then are able to close things out. After dropping the first round in OT, they rebound with the next two and lock in the first